Good afternoon. This is Solent Sports News. It's 4 p.m. and I'm Marcus Brown. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer paid the price for United's poor form, according to Manchester United skipper Harry Maguire. Harry admitted that the players must take responsibility in Ole being sacked from his job. United sit 8th in the Premier League, with 5 of the last 7 games being losses. Amongst those losses is a 5-0 thumping by Liverpool at Old Trafford and a 2-0 loss to Manchester City. Maguire and new interim manager Michael Carrick both spoke at the Champions League conference this afternoon, speaking of how United are expected to play against Villarreal tomorrow and Ole's farewell to the club yesterday.
I've worked closely with Ole for a long time now, and we do have very similar beliefs. We did as players, we certainly do as coach and manager. Yes, of course, I've got my own personality and I'm very clear in my own mind what we want to do, how we want to play, how we want to go about it, and looking forward to seeing that on the pitch.
He wished us well. He said he'll be supporting us. He said we need to get back on track, get focused for the game against Villarreal now, and make sure we go into it with a positive mindset. And one thing that he did say is that he'll be supporting us and wanting us to win every game of football, which is obviously shows the values of the man.
Gareth Southgate can now look comfortably ahead with the England's men's international team after signing a new contract through to 2024. With both the World Cup and Euro 24 competitions within the timeframe, Gareth is to continue his 5-year build for the team after taking over back in 2016. Southgate mentioned that none of the recent openings in the Premier League have interested him, with his heart set on becoming the first England manager since '66 to win a title for the men's team.
When you've got a team who are a good team, where you've done a lot of the work culturally to get them to where you want to be, you want to bring that to fruition and you want to have a go. We've only ever won one World Cup. To step away at a moment where we still think the next few years can be very exciting would have been difficult to live with.
It was a great weekend for new managers across Europe. Dean Smith began his Herculean task of keeping Norwich safe with a 2-1 win over Southampton. Xavi recorded a win with his first game as Barcelona head coach against Espanyol in their derby, while Steven Gerrard, after his successes in Scotland, continued his winning ways with a 2-0 win over Brighton with Aston Villa, showing passion for both goals, something that had been brought up by pundits alike when Gerrard took over. Antonio Conte will be the most relieved of them all after recording a win with Tottenham Hotspur. With the first win under their belt, Conte has set his sights firmly on qualifying for Champions League football.
I think Hamilton will win the championship because he has the brand new engine since Brazil, which he hasn't used for Qatar. And
if there is one team that slip in this season or make mistakes, we must be there.
Stoneham weathered the storm and fought valiantly in their 1-0 win over fellow promotion hopefuls Winbourne. Their victory was all the sweeter as for over the match an outfield player had to play as the goalkeeper due to an injury early in the game. The keeper was caught with a late tackle which left him injured. Jan Blazicek, a midfielder for Stoneham, recalled the incident.
I feel like goalkeepers should be much more protected in these kind of situations because it was very dangerous from their attacking player, and I'm glad that he received a yellow card for such a tackle.
This victory puts Stoneham top of the league, vying for promotion. But while promotion is something every player would love to have on their CV, can the club's finances and infrastructure handle the leap to the next level? Competition is high for places in England's rugby union squad as they head into the lead-up for the Six Nations tournament, according to head coach Eddie Jones. With fresh faces and youth coming into the England fold and impressing on the international stage, competition is at an all-time high, bringing excitement for the upcoming Six Nations in the new year. Jones admitted that progress had been quicker than expected, but he's excited at seeing his new youngsters develop in the tournament itself.
I think it's a really good mix, but we're going to have to keep working hard because, people haven't seen the best of this team yet, and that's a great thing. We want to find out how good we can be.
Formula One is set to have one of its most exciting finishes in recent years, with Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen trying to win the championship. Our reporter Amber Pereira has more.
Lewis Hamilton could well and truly make a comeback to defeat Max Verstappen to win the Drivers' Championship. The Mercedes driver is just 8 points behind the Red Bull driver with just 2 more races to go. Here's what the fans think on who will win the Formula One Drivers' Championship.
I think Hamilton will win the championship because he has the brand new engine since Brazil, which he hasn't used for Qatar. And
I think Max will win the championship because despite the amount of uncontrollable instances where Max has lost many points and not finished races, he still has more wins this season than Hamilton does.
I think Lewis Hamilton will win the world champion because he has a newer engine, and when compared to Max Verstappen, he has less damage on his powertrain.
So I think Max will win the Drivers' Championship because this season he has proven to be the better driver, and despite Hamilton and Max being so close and Hamilton being very quick in the last 2 races, I think that the last race is coming down to sheer talent over equipment.
Formula One journalist Scott Mitchell found the Lewis and Max battle in Qatar very boring. However, Max stealing a point from Lewis was something he liked.
Max was able to put fresh tyres on at the very end, and therefore set the fastest lap and get that bonus point, which meant Lewis only took 6 points out of him instead of 7 for winning the race. And because of the way the race played out, where they were on track, Lewis didn't have a chance to respond. So even within a more boring battle, there was still this strategic chess-like element to the race. And obviously in terms of the bigger picture, it was fantastic as well, because it's trimmed the gap to 8 points, and it means that we've got 2 races left with everything to play for. So it's the perfect result championship-wise, even if the race itself was a little bit flat.
Max has won more races this season, and Lewis is currently having momentum and in the form of his life, following massive race wins. It all comes down to the last 2 races.
If you weighed everything up, where the respective cars look competitive-wise, how the 2 drivers are driving, they're both at an incredibly high level, but more importantly, what the 2 final circuits are like. Characteristic-wise, they're very high speed, which suits maybe the Mercedes a little bit more. Maybe I'd lean towards Hamilton to get that 8th title, but it's very, very close, and either of them are going to be worthy champions.
Mitchell made a solid point that another championship win for the Mercedes driver meant another record in the history of Formula One. And a win for the Red Bull driver would probably mean the start of a new
If Lewis
era.
wins, it's the 8th title. He moves clear of Michael Schumacher. He has achieved unprecedented success and cements his status as one of, if not the greatest driver of all time. That's a phenomenal story. And if Max wins, he's the guy who's toppled Hamilton. And Red Bull have ended Mercedes' dominance of Formula One. It's a fresh face as champion. There's a little bit of a sort of changing of the guard. It happens, greats come and go, and then the young drivers come in and replace them.
Irrespective of who would win the Drivers' Championship, it has been a very good and exciting year of Formula One. Both the drivers have pushed each other to their maximum potential and got the best out of each other. Amber Pereira for Solent Radio.
The Women's Tennis Association has said that it's still concerned for the well-being of Peng Shuai, even after reportedly having a 30-minute video call with the International Olympic Committee. Shuai's disappearance for just under 3 weeks triggered widespread concern for her, with stars and governments alike calling for China to prove that she was safe and unharmed after her claims of sexual assault from a Chinese government official. That's all from us for today. We'll be back next week for our hourly radio bulletins. Remember, you can keep up to date on our website, solentjournalism.co.uk, and have a good evening.